Good afternoon. I'm Toni Valliere with Verified Investing. Welcome to Trading the Close on this Monday. The bond auction sees a strong demand. The stock market is on pace to reach a 2023 high, and it's been a wild ride for Microsoft after OpenAI's firing of Sam Altman on Friday. So let's see where things stand right now ahead of the closing bell. We are seeing green all across the board. Big gains here. The S&P 500 up 32 points. The Dow Jones up 200 points. And the NASDAQ up more than 150 points right now. Even oil up 77 points. So let's bring in Chief Market Strategist Gareth Soloway, and it looks like the markets reacted really well to that bond auction.
They really did. So we already had, basically what we already had was the dollar was already moving lower today, even before the bond auction, and the markets just love a weak dollar. It means like the Fed kind of is more close, at least the market views it like a weak dollar means there's more money in the system. It's better for the economy, at least that's the way it's viewed. So that was already trending down, and we talked about this in the morning game plan, how it had already broken down. So the markets already had a little bit of a bid this morning. And then the key was, once that bond auction hit, take a look at the 10-minute chart when the bond auction hit. What we can see is this is where it hit right here, and look at the 10-year yield collapse. And essentially what that means is that we saw very strong demand for the bond auction, which means investors or countries that are buying our debt are willing to do less interest rates. They're willing for interest rates to go lower. If there was a bad demand, meaning people didn't buy our debt, we would have to raise our interest rates to lure them in and say, hey, listen, we'll give you more interest if you buy our debt. It wasn't like that. And the market loves interest rates going down. So we saw interest rates collapsing down. The markets, if we look at the S&P here, that was really where it happened right here, right? So you saw the market wrapping up and starting to rip higher. Now, interestingly enough, look at this. Just into the close, we're seeing a little bit of profit taking ahead of tomorrow's Fed minutes in the afternoon at 2 p.m. and also Nvidia's earnings. And that's going to be the kicker. And I just want to show you guys this really cool chart, right? So this is the SPY chart, the S&P 500. First of all, the vertical move, this is almost unprecedented. To see an 11% move in the S&P in the course of 3 weeks. That is amazing. Historically, almost never happens. All right, number two, what we see here, there's a gap fill right here, which we basically are getting into. Bear with me as I bring up the drawing tool here. So right here, we have this level here. And again, it doesn't want to work for me, but that's okay. And then we also have this longer term trend line right here from the all-time highs. So again, if we look at what we have here, again, there we go. We have essentially this market, which is now into this all-time high on the S&P, to this pivot point, and we're right into this resistance right here. So what's fascinating about this is the markets seem like they're into resistance, and it's right before the Fed tomorrow for the Fed minutes and the big Nvidia earnings. And the Nvidia earnings are going to be huge for this market.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, let's talk about some of the other big market movers today. Microsoft, they are hiring Sam Altman after he gets fired from OpenAI. I know Microsoft obviously involved in OpenAI, but could this be a big boost for Microsoft stock?
Yeah, so today it certainly is, right? So if we look at Microsoft, Microsoft ended up almost 1% here, or excuse me, on the day it was actually up more than that. So Microsoft today up about 2%. And notice this though, look at the run that this has had up into this level. And again, you know, to me as a trader, and I'm a trader, I'm not a long-term investor, but I get worried when we start hitting some of these key resistance levels. And again, you can see very clearly pivot point to pivot point, and we're right there. And then you have secondary pivot, which comes off the screen here, but it connects through these lows and goes right through there, and it all kind of hits right at that point. And then you say, okay, well, not only is the chart hitting resistance, but you're now at a point where look at the vertical move. And think about a rubber band, right? So charts work like rubber bands. You can stretch them and stretch them more and more, but what happens is eventually they snap back. They can only go so far, and then there's like this natural force that pulls them back. So at some point, and I don't know if it'll be here, but this is the logical spot, we should see some sort of check back on the Microsoft chart. And again, that could be just the euphoria of Sam Altman being hired, but maybe that again gets kind of the top in place here in the near term. So you're right. I mean, the Altman news was a positive. Initially Friday after the close, it was down sharply. Microsoft was down sharply because they own 50% of OpenAI. And then today, obviously, when they hired him, it was just like party time.
It was quite a roller coaster, that's for sure, over the whole weekend. All right, what were some of the other big movers?
So we have some other big movers. I think we got to talk about Nvidia here because, again, Nvidia is just a monster in relation to its move up. So this is a 26% move up. About $260 billion in market cap has been created on this move up. It actually just had a new closing high today. And the reason why I bring this up as a mover is that we have earnings tomorrow after the close. So my guess is you're either going to get a big move up, and the options market is implying this, either a huge move up or a huge move down. It's going to be one or the other. And the reason why it's so important for the markets is the large cap tech, the 5 largest companies, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Amazon, they are now the biggest weightings they've ever been in the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. So if, let's say, this stock tomorrow or on Wednesday on earnings is up big or down big, it's going to have a huge impact on the markets. So investors need to hold their breath tomorrow at 4 p.m. when the markets close. And we'll be doing this, and who knows, maybe we'll see it live happen.
And the state of the market right now, should we still be optimistic that the Fed is done raising rates?
Yeah, I think at this point, I think that's part of the reason why the markets have had such a big move up, is at this point the market pretty much knows the Fed is done, and they're even starting to hope for these rate cuts maybe by mid next year, and that's where the party is starting. It's like, okay, we can now see in the far distance the money printing started again. Now, you and I were like, oh crap, more money printing, right? More debt, but the markets just love it. And so that's, I mean, it is what it is. It's not good in my opinion, but in the short term, the markets work like children. The markets are children, in fact, in that they think, right, they think very short term. And that's all they care about. They're not like, oh, in 10 years, our debt is going to be $50 trillion. They're like, okay, in the short term, money printing money into the system, more money in stocks, and so we can go higher. And that's all the markets think about.
All right, a quick recap, because you already mentioned a few things, but what are you looking at for tomorrow? I know you mentioned Nvidia. Yeah,
Nvidia earnings after the close, and at 2 p.m. tomorrow, we'll get the Fed minutes, which will be the minutes from their last meeting, and they usually tinker with those a little to kind of get a message across. So I'm curious, with such an incredible run, I don't think Jerome Powell loves the market going higher this quickly, because again, it creates a lot of extra wealth in the system, which then makes it harder for inflation to come down. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if he tries to throw anything into these minutes tomorrow to kind of get the brakes put on the market just a little bit.
And if you miss it, we will be talking about that here on Trading the Close. Gareth, thank you very much. And you can watch Gareth navigate the charts in real time every weekday morning at 9 with the game plan. And we also want to let you know about a new course that launched today, the Verified Real Estate Wealth System, hosted by real estate developer Greg Dickerson. Now, he's an expert on real estate leadership and entrepreneurship and has bought and sold over $250 million in real estate. Now he's teaching you how to master the art of real estate investing in a 3-series course. And that is available right now at verifiedinvesting.com. That does it for Trading the Close on this Monday. I'm Toni Valliere.
One of the things my dad taught me was hard work and discipline. He would teach me how to figure out a way to make the money that I needed for whatever I wanted in my life. I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I had a epiphany. Life is too short. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm not going to waste another minute. I decided I'm going to carve my own path. That's why my life changed. That's why I got into real estate. But what fills me more than anything else is helping other people figure out why they were put on this planet. That's why I teach. That's why I coach, because nothing excites me more than seeing other people achieve their dreams, other people carve their own paths. That was the freedom that I felt when I was able to leave that job and I was able to do whatever I wanted, anytime I wanted. Anybody can do it. Anybody can go out and do deals. Anybody can make money. Anybody can build companies. Once you're dialed in and you're settled in and you learn how to become that leader, delegate, or motivator, which is a lot of what I teach in that course, you can live a great lifestyle while building great businesses and doing a lot at investing and doing other things. When you go through a course like this, that gives you the power and the confidence and the freedom to go out there and take action and put that stuff into action. So for me, the one idea is all it takes to completely change the entire trajectory of your life.